So should we talk a little bit about Generation Z and their... apparently they're all not turning up to work citing mental health issues. And I think, you don't want to undermine the importance of mental health issues. But I do think a lot of people seem to misunderstand it. You get people who are, say, I don't know, grieving for the loss of a loved one. They're sad, they're in mourning, and they say, I've got mental health issues. That's not a mental health issue, that's sadness. So I'm a bit worried about this sort of overarching nature that the mental health sort of syndrome seems to be taking.
I mean, I think you're drawing a clear distinction between somebody grieving for a loved one having mental health problems, and when actually most mental health professionals would say there isn't a clear distinction between those things. If you're somebody who perhaps is a bit depressed or a bit anxious, which is a very normal thing, then your grief is going to end up affecting you perhaps more extremely. But however unhappy you were already, if you've got grief, then yeah, sure, you should probably have a few days, maybe a few weeks off work, because it's going to impact you really badly.
I think I inverted your name, I'm sorry. Richard Powers.
You do it all the time, and
do
I forgive you.
Do I? Sorry.
You should hear what Kev calls
I'll get it right from now on. Powers Saeed, yeah.
But you know,
This is Philip Alex, by the way.
Blimey, I've had a sex change as well.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, not necessarily.
All the things I'm getting up to
Philippa
today.
Alex.
Philippa Alex.
Yeah.
No, I mean, do you think one of the problems is here social media? Because it strikes me that there is an impact on a younger generation who do see, we call them the snowflake generation, but they are bombarded with material. They get obsessed with sort of a value scheme or affirmation on likes and comments on social media. We know how people behave on social media. And frankly, if people could learn to unplug it, rather than being all atomized and stuck to their devices, getting miserable, if they were just talking to each other and mingling like we did when we were growing up, well, I certainly did, because I'm a bit older than you, they might be a bit happier.
It's really tough. I mean, I was probably in the sort of first wave of the sort of smartphone generation, so it wasn't quite as bad as the constant bombardment of sort of Snapchat and Instagram that you would probably be experiencing as a kid now. And I genuinely sort of had some mental health issues when I first entered the workplace, and I got signed off sick for about 2 or 3 months, and it worked wonders for me. I got the sort of respite and the medication that I needed, and I came back and I haven't needed time off since. So if I hadn't, things would have probably got worse, and I might have needed longer time off. So it's wonderful that obviously younger people feel a lot more able to talk about their feelings. I suspect the questions that arise from this report are, one, do they get access to the help that they need as early as possible to stop things sort of getting worse? And two, what is the link to education that's revealed in this report as well? It talks about the fact that there's a much bigger likelihood that you're going to be off sick if you have lower educational qualifications. So there's questions to be raised about supporting young people with resitting exams and things like that as well.
And I think also, the discussion must revolve around, how many of them are telling the truth. Saying I've got mental health issues gets you off a lot of stuff. It really does. It's the big thing now. If you say I've got mental health issues, everybody falls over to help you. So it's the genuineness of some of the claims I think we've got to think about.
I'm not sure which workplaces...
You can't say they're all telling the truth.
I'm not sure which workplaces
you can't say they're all telling the truth.
Are meeting.
So you say that everyone who ever says I've got mental health issues has definitely got mental health issues. I say loads of them are swinging the lead.
I'm saying that most young people do not have staff positions with their employer, and so they can't say anything about their mental health problems because they'll lose their contracts, they'll lose their hours. That's how most young people are being employed in this country, thanks to the deregulation of the labour market. And if there are some young people who are in a strong enough position in the labour market to say to their boss, you're treating me badly, or say to their boss, I'm having a really tough time and I demand time off, then that is a good thing for our society.
OK, but the question here then, I suppose, is why is it that cohort are off sick a lot more than the older generations who, frankly, probably got bits and bobs falling off their bodies at this point, but they're still going into the workplace. Why is this specifically something affecting young people and not older people?
I suspect that this is probably something that's affecting both, but the problems are to do with how early people are sort of being able to get mental health support. And I suspect that if you're younger, you're potentially more worried about reaching out to parts of the sort of NHS system. You're a bit more detached from them generally. Whereas if you're an older person, you're potentially more likely to be have regular access to your GP or be in and out of hospital. So maybe you kind of know
people have got
how
regular
to look
access
for
to GPs in this country. Really?
More likely to.
Yeah.
But also, like, all of those, like people who are late middle-aged, people who are middle-aged, are leaving the labour market. They're not getting signed off work. Instead, they're just dropping out of the labour market because they've got chronic health conditions and they're just disappearing from the stats. So it's not just a problem with young people, it's across the labour market. It's just that different people, different generations respond to the similar problems in different ways.
It may be that we respond in an improved way to what we used to mental health issues, but I think the Daily Mail people would be horrified at the discussion we're having as a result of their front page lead today, because what they're implying is people are making this stuff up.
Also, can I just say, you two are both making me feel quite old, if I'm honest with you, which is affecting my mental health negatively.
You're both so damn nice.
I know.
You're in the wrong place, you really are.